Icon Podcast. I'm Seun Oki. This podcast is an open mic where everyone gets to share their perspectives on issues that matter most to them. The Icon Podcast is independent of my weekday show on Channels Television's Politics Today and the weekend edition Sunday Politics. The recent surge in kidnappings within Abuja has become a cause for concern. In this episode, we will zero in on a few alarming cases that have ignited new fears and sparked outrage. On the 5th of January, a man and 6 of his daughters were kidnapped in a home invasion in the Buhari area of the FCT. The kidnappers released the man and ordered him to pay 50 million naira for his children. And tragically, one of the sisters, the eldest, was killed by the kidnappers despite the payment of ransom. Also this month, 30 people were abducted along the Abuja-Kaduna Highway at Dogonfili in northwestern Kaduna State. It's obvious but more disturbing that mass abductions and kidnappings for ransom have returned on a large scale. There are so many stories out there. So in today's episode, we will be getting real-life first-hand accounts from the victims themselves. Through their experiences, we hope to gain insight into how we can protect ourselves from these kidnapping syndicates. Tonight, we'll be diving deep and into some emotional stories of people. And of course, I want to hear from you. Have you experienced it before? Do you have family members that have experienced, that have had experience in the hands of these kidnappers? I'd like you to share. And let's form a community where we can proffer solutions to what has become a menace in our society today. Some of the latest coming is the arrest of a man called Chinasa, and the police have said that he's a kingpin and is being handed over to the police. And also the ministry, the FCT minister is saying that they are on top of the situation. He's been meeting with traditional rulers, and there are also latest as of yesterday today about the abduction of 3 persons from an estate in Abuja. We also understand there was a shootout earlier today on an expressway in Abuja, and in all of this, over 87 FCT residents have been killed, 176 kidnapped under the last 7 months or so. Tonight, we'll be getting insight into what we can do to solve this problem. Dr. Ndu Nwokolo is the expert in the house. He's going to be giving us insight into what we can do in this case. Thank you so much, Dr. Nwokolo, for joining us today.
Thank you, Seun.
Things are getting so bad. 187 FCT residents have been killed, 176 kidnapped under the Tinubu government in the last 7 or 8 months. That is what reports and investigation are telling us. What do you make of the real reasons for these recent violent activities in the city?
I think there are a couple. So there are a couple of reasons. If you try to dissect what is currently happening, if you look at it, your thinking might be that it's just the 187. No, these are only ones that have been reported. But we all know that it is underreported. You know, are you talking about people who have been adopted if they enter the public transport that are not even recorded? So I think we're in a difficult situation. So couple of reasons are part of what we're saying. One is that there's this pull and push pressure from the northwest and the north central, especially with the banditry going on in those areas. So you find out that a lot of young people who ordinarily have nothing to do found themselves in a city, and economic pressure are pushing a lot of them into some of these things. If we walk around through the city, you will see a lot of what people they call locally as I can't remember the word again, but in English they call them the scavengers, who go around picking things from the dustbin. Most of these guys are used as informant for
as part of this syndicate.
Exactly, you know. So dealing with this needs a holistic approach. And it's not just a political issue. There's a political angle to it. But most importantly is that you're looking at economic pressure. People are being co-opted into crime. Crime ordinarily they won't want to be part of. That's on one part. Two is, if you look at the kind of mass kidnapping going on, the topography of Abuja contributes to that, but a lot of people are not looking at it. If you look at Buhari Area Council, the question could be, when it happened, at the back of Buhari Area Council, you're seeing hills, you know, a topography that our military and our security services do not even understand. The one that happened in Kurudu, back of Kurudu is hill. So these guys understand the topography of the area more than even our security agencies. So for us to deal with this, it needs a holistic approach. So we're not just dealing with an issue where you're thinking that these guys are just ragtag people who are coming to kidnap. No.
They're a bit organized.
They're organized.
They have some understanding.
This is a political economy. They are well prepared and they know what they're doing. So the ones you see are the face of it, but the ones who are behind them are the real guys who are doing the planning.
Is it that they've seen that there is a vulnerability in the city and that they've taken advantage of it? What could have, I mean, one would think that Abuja is perhaps the most fortified city in the country.
And that's what you think. Whoever is helping them do the organization have an internal intelligence of how our security apparatus either don't cooperate or don't work together. So they understand that. They understand where the gaps are. And they are cashing in on those gaps. If you call the police number, how many minutes will it take them to react? They understand that.
Do you even know the police number to call as a citizen?
No, I don't.
If you are in trouble as a citizen, you are helpless. You probably will want to call your family member who cannot do anything.
You're completely helpless. Now, let me give you an instance. If you drive from here to, say, Zone 2, from 8 o'clock, you're likely to see police checkpoints, right? Mm-hmm. How many police patrol cars do you see patrol the streets? You see checkpoints, but you don't see police patrol cars. Meaning that how many minutes will it take a police patrol car to react? Respond. To respond, yes. So they know all those things and they are cashing in on those gaps, those lapses in our security architecture to do what they are doing. The ragtag you're seeing are not the planners. They are just the executors. The planners are people like me and you who understand the whole thing.
But I mean, you see, for example, there is a Chinasa Philip that is said to have been arrested by the Kaduna Kaduna arm of the Nigerian police force, and he was said to have been accosted while trying to transport a victim from Abuja to Kano, and it's been said to be a notorious kingpin. What do you make of that kind of arrest? It's caused a lot of debate online.
Well, for me, I am not going to deny it. I'm not going to say I'm 100% sure that whatever name, whatever person they've given, subscribe to what I think. But I remember a research we did where we tried to bring in people who were previously kidnapped. You know, one of the victims who was kidnapped along Kaduna Abuja Road told us that where they took him to, that inside the bush were generator sets, that the monies were being brought in, that people who were coming to receive the money were people who are highly placed in the society. So like I said, this is a political economy. The people who are the planners are not the ones you see. So if there's a Chinasa Phillips, behind Chinasa Phillips are so many other people who might even be sitting here and be telling you, oh, kidnapping is this and that. So we need to look ourselves in the mirror to ask a national question. Are we ready to solve this problem? If we're ready to solve the problem, it needs a national a national engagement, meaning everybody needs to come out to fight this. Otherwise, we're heading towards being like a Colombian state.
But what about the new squad that the new IG has put together? Do you think there's a lot of sense? Will it work? Will it help to curb this menace?
It can work if we want it to work. It can work if even within the police, the sincerity of purpose is there. So who are the moles within them? And that's a critical question. Within the security, our security agencies, who are the moles within them? Who are the ones who leak the information? Who are the ones who are sympathetic to either people's belief or people's ethnicity or people's agitation and so on? So for us to make this to work.
So your own idea or your own belief about this whole thing is that there is the role of the fifth columnist.
Exactly.
In all of this. Exactly. That these kidnappers are not alone.
They're not
working
alone.
With people on the inside.
They are working with people on the inside. And they are working with people who you might not even think that they are part of it. So there are so many angles to this. There's a financial and economic aspect. There's equally the political aspect. People who, even if they are not involved, but they understand the situation, they can help solve the situation, but they don't want to solve it because it pays them if it's not solved.
In all of this, so I'm worried. Does it make Abuja less secure? All of these reports.
As much as we try to play down the situation so that, considering the role of Abuja, especially it houses a lot of it houses Nigeria's diplomatic community, that if Abuja becomes that unsafe, it might affect the role. It might affect the role the diplomatic. It might affect the presence of diplomatic community in the town. But aside from that, if we are to be very honest, this town is becoming unsafe by the day. It's becoming unsafe by the day. You can't even go out and flag a taxi and jump into a taxi.
Those taxis are another story entirely.
You're flagging and you're going to Golgotha. You're heading to Golgotha. That's it. So it needs action. You're not going to look at it from just one angle. You need to look at it from every angle.
Let me allow our viewers and listeners, wherever they may be watching or listening tonight, you perhaps do not know what these stories, some of the stories they're telling you is that these things are not real. They are over-exaggerated. Who are the people that are kidnapped? You've heard stories of those who are even crowdfunding online, trying to source for funds to get people out of the kidnappers then. But let's take a look at some of the reports, the recent report of kidnapping in the FCT in Abuja. Let me show you a few of the reports that we know, some of which has happened. The attack on the Mansour Al-Qadiya's family on the 7th of January, resulting in the abduction of the daughter, cousin, and himself. Mansour's brother was killed and police officers died in a gun battle. Mansour Al-Qadiya was released on condition of a ransom. One daughter was killed when the family could not meet the new demand. 2 more captives, including a 13-year-old Folarin Shoario, were killed, and the ransom was raised to 700 million naira. This is on the 7th of January. A man known as Northern Man on X miraculously escaped from kidnappers in the Lugbe area of the FCT around 10:30 p.m. That's on the 17th. Sustained a gunshot injury during the incident and urged caution due to the pervasive threats in the city. There's another resident, Seun Oki, was rescued. This was the incident where the Shinasa Philip was apprehended. They were en route from Abuja to Kana when the police intercepted them, and the police successfully blocked the grey Toyota Hilux van, arresting the kidnapper, a 28-year-old Shinasa Philip, that is being touted to be a kidnap kingpin. All right. I mean, we've heard that about 80-something people have been killed in the last few months. in the city. But let me allow you to listen to, out of all the victims that we wanted to bring to you, 2 of them we'll bring to you tonight. I'd like you to listen to their stories. What exactly goes on in the kidnappers den? How did they go about this? How did they ask for ransom? What does the kidnappers den? So that you out there might be careful. I have joining me, I got Godwin Paul. Godwin, congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
For staying alive.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How did yours happen?
I was actually traveling to Benin. So on our way to, when we got to Okene Road, that Okpela, that was where 4 men came out from the bush, started shooting at us. They shoot at the vehicle. Our driver was trying to reverse. Another 4 came out through the back. They shoot at us and the car got stuck, couldn't come out before they approached us. So they asked us to come down and they took us into the bush. We trekked for about 12 hours.
12 hours in the bush.
In the bush. So we got to one point where they asked us to sit down on the floor. They asked us to remove everything.
Did you see their faces?
Yes. They were actually using this hanky to cover, the bandana to cover their face. But at one point, they got tired of it, so they had to reveal their face. So when we were there, they asked us to start calling our family. So we were all calling our family. At first, they were requesting for 12 million each person. Each.
How many people did they take?
We were 17. It was actually 2 Sienna. The driver escaped.
So there were 2 Sienna.
Yes, coming.
So they stopped in the middle of the road.
Yes.
Okay. They jumped out of the bush.
Yes.
This was what time of the day?
It was around 10 a.m.
10 a.m. This wasn't even the morning.
After the soldier checkpoint.
Okay.
Was when this happened.
So you've experienced a checkpoint by the army,
yes,
by the military.
Yes.
So it took how many minutes after the military checkpoint?
Like 25 minutes.
After the military checkpoint?
After the military checkpoint. So we were even thinking the military would even want to approach us or help us, but nothing was happening. We keep trekking.
Did they shoot at? Okay, they shot at your vehicle.
Yes.
So, but one of the driver of your own Toyota Sienna, or the vehicle
yes,
you were in,
we were actually going together inside the bush. He was the one telling us not to run. Next thing I saw the man running, and they were shooting at him. But it was later we got to realize that he survived it, severe injury. So that was how he escaped. But we were there with them for like 5 days, and they asked us. We were drinking erosion water, eating rice and red oil, in concussion actually.
They were cooking it.
Yes, they were cooking it, but it was not the kidnappers. It was some of us that they kidnapped. They asked us to go to the fire and cook so that we'll eat. They are not going to kill us. They are not going to beat us. All they want is money. They just want money. That due to the government, that Buhari has caused them. Then it was Buhari's regime that the ex-president has caused them a lot. The person that was interpreting the Hausa for us there is an ex-military man actually, and all of them were calling him General. So his English was not that.
Part of the kidnappers.
Yes, his name is General. His English was not that fluent though, but we understand what he was saying. So he would just come up and start telling us stories of how he escaped the Boko Haram incident, how he ran from them, and that was how he was. They were flogging us every morning. Like in the morning, they would ask us to come outside. How much have you gotten? If you tell them the same amount, they will give you 10 stroke. Sometimes they will just even beat you anyhow they want to. The ladies there, they were taking them somewhere else to maltreat them, and we were all praying. But at one point, they now reduced it to 5 million. So that was how they were treating us. We were begging them. We were sleeping on the floor. They would tie one of
inside
us.
the bush.
Inside the bush.
Are there communities within the bush that you notice that are closer?
Yeah, I think it's actually far from where we are. But there are people coming inside the bush. All these guys are called wood. So we used to hear the sound of saw machine. And when the sound is coming close to us, they would crack their gun, go and meet the person and tell the person to go away. And they would just hear a sound, bike sound, and we'll be like, At one point, the men, they were like 10. So we're like, these guys are like 7. We're saying, okay, let's fight them, but maybe anytime we just whisper that kind of thing to ourselves, immediately these guys will just come up and start flogging us. Like, we just want to lay our guards off. They actually maltreated us very well.
Were you able to pay any kind of ransom?
Yes.
How much were you able to get?
500,000.
That's what you were able to.
Yes.
Did they release you
Yes.
voluntarily or after you got the
It
500,000?
was after I got the 500,000. Because it was more like my friends at home. They were the one that contributed the money. So it was on the last day that the money was completed. At one point, they say we are not going home. That their boss is still up on top of the hill there. Because the place is more like a slopey place. So they were like, they have a general. The one that is more than the boss that was with us there. That they will just chain us there. That the things we are benefiting from them, we are not going to benefit it up there. There are people that are coming to buy human parts. That if we don't get to pay this money, they are going to kill us.
And they were saying all of this in Hausa?
Yes.
Do they look like Nigerians?
They are actually Fulani men. They are Fulani men.
But they are speaking Hausa?
They're speaking Hausa. And maybe they want to speak this. They want to talk to
Do you speak Hausa?
Yes.
So you understand easily what they were saying?
Yes. I was born in the north, Kanu. So at one, I was even trying to, when you be like, Babana, sorry, please. You know that you are trying to make them
Persuade them.
Yes, but they will feel that easy. But later they'll just come up and start shouting, start flogging us anyhow. So it's not easy actually.
So, I mean, how many people... So they had passengers in the two Sienna vehicles.
Yes.
So I imagine that in a Sienna vehicle you have, give and take, about 10 people in each of the Sienna vehicle.
I think it's 9.
9.
Yes.
So 9 times 2. So you have...
So it was supposed to be 18.
18.
But since the driver escaped, he
Yeah.
did not pass through all those stuff. So we're now 17 of us.
So did they release all of you at the same time?
No, they had to do it badge by badge. So the first badge left the place, left the camp, went to one place, and we sat down there for like 2 hours. We were even thinking these guys are going to kill us. But at one point, they now brought the money. The money our own family members have paid them, so they brought it.
How did they get the money?
They asked them to bring the money up to the hill.
Who brought the money to them? Your family members?
Yes, like different people. Like I think they went. The family members gathered one place, so they selected a few people that would go and give them the money. So those few people summoned the courage and came up to the hill there. And I think when we were going back, it was more like a straight road, but when we were going, it was zigzag. So we didn't understand it. It was later when they brought us out to the road, and we now saw the road that it was a slopey road down. But we spent about like 2 hours when we were going back.
And this was it was deep in Kogi State.
Yes.
You had left.
You
have left Abuja.
Pipeline, Okpela.
Okpela.
Yes. Pipeline. That's where they call the place. That's before you get to Boa Company. That Boa cement factory.
Mm-hmm. That's where they kept you guys for the 5 days.
Yes.
What was going through your mind that period?
Well, I was actually just thinking, how will my mother survive? Because I'm the only child. So I'm like, oh God, how will my mother survive? How is she going to cope without me? I was just praying. Anytime they were actually receiving calls, we were allowed to make calls. So whenever our parents...
With your own phone?
No, it was one SIM card. They asked everybody to remove their SIM and their phone. So we dropped our phone. So you just pick your phone and pick a number from the phone, the person you know that is going to save your life. So that was how they used one particular phone to communicate. So you'll be like, when you make your own call, another person you pass it to the next person, the other person. That was how it was.
And when you saw your mom, how long did it take before you saw your mom after you were released?
Actually, it was just one day because I slept at Okene. So the next day I went back home.
Did your mom hear that you were kidnapped when you were in their camp?
Yes. At first, I actually called my friend because I didn't know how to tell my mom. Because she was not feeling fine. So I told my friend to just
manage it so that
take her to their own house so that they'll sit down together and then maybe anything that want to happen so that they'll just be with her. That was what happened. And she was having that feeling that something was happening to me. So when they came to her house, she was just asking, where's my son? Where's my son? And next thing started crying. According to them, she started crying.
You must have thought that you were not going to, get out alive at some point. Or you had a faith that you were going to go out alive. At the initial stage?
At the initial
what,
stage,
what was on your mind?
I was feeling, I know that I was going to come out alive because I know the God I'm serving, actually. So I was actually praying, and every word of God is pure. He's the shield to those who put them trust on him. So my trust was on God. My hope, my faith was on God also. I know I was going to come out alive.
Did that experience change you in some way?
Yes, from a lot of things.
It changed your perspective?
Before, I was feeling rejected, actually. I was feeling depressed. But after the incident, I had hope. I started having hope. I feel alive at one point. And I know God has.
Congratulations, Godwin.
Thank you very much.
If there is something that you've learned about, I mean, it's only God who saves. It's only God who gives absolute security. About if there's one tip that you learn from all of these kidnappers, what would that be? What did you learn? What did you think is their modus operandi?
Well, actually, what I've learned, I learned that you should just, if you are the victim, you should just put your hope on Christ, on God. Just believe God.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Just believe God. Just know that. Just have it in the back of your mind. Just proclaim whatever it is that you want to go through. Like, just say, I'm going out from here. Just have that faith.
But in their own way, you saw maybe how they tried to hide where they were staying, how they tried to use a SIM card just to, stay away from being caught. So what do you think it makes them difficult for the security agencies to apprehend? How they operate, the things they do that you think these are, if they didn't do this, maybe security agencies would have apprehended them.
Deep down, they were actually saying to themselves that they were telling us that nothing can happen to them. That even if the security should come here now, they would fire themselves. And at one point, they brought out smoke, that's weed, cannabis. That this cannabis helped them from bullets. Bullets will not pierce them. Nothing will pierce them. And they have backbone everywhere. They have a lot of people. Even the general was telling us that there was one time he went to Ayingba, that's Kogi State University, somebody saw him, and he was shouting that this is a kidnapper, this is a kidnapper. That immediately they got to the court. It did not take them up to 24 hours. They already released him. That he already has this backbone, that nothing will happen to him. That if possible, he was asking all of us where we were staying. I described my own area, my house to him. He said, is it not this social place? Is it not this woman? That he described my own place for me. I'm like, okay, this man knows everywhere. And he has backbone.
So he's highly connected.
Yes.
Dr. Nwokolo, what do you make of, because there's another story that we're going to show our viewers and our listeners tonight. What do you make of his own story? He's a lucky man, isn't he?
He is. I mean, why you could see that his story connects to what I was trying to say. When people look at kidnapping, they think, you think only about the executors. No. You use the word, the backbone. The backbone is the most important thing. So, for this to work, we need to start distorting, we need to start distorting the flow. The flow is the most important thing. Where are they getting their intelligence from? Where are they getting the guns from?
They are connected. They have knowledge. They have
exactly. Because for instance, they know that if they kidnap me now, that my phone has a GPS, they wouldn't want to keep my phone. And if you ask him, you find out that the phone they were using was such that it does not, it could not detect where they are. But that is not only the most important thing. My question could be, why did we register our SIM cards? If we had all our SIM cards registered, we were made to go through that rigor of registering SIM cards. So what are the number they use? Probably they buy SIM cards, they use it for one operation, they destroy it. But I thought the rule or the law is that every SIM card must be registered before you start using them. So there are a lot of questions that that remained unanswered. They are unanswered because we make rules and we don't follow them.
Dr. Nwokolo, you said about 17 or 18 of you were kidnapped, and you moved for over 2 hours.
Like 12 hours.
12 hours.
Yes.
So if they were moving, so there are no satellites in this country that can track, and this is the issue we're talking about, response time.
Yes.
So if this happened 15 minutes away or less from a military checkpoint, so there are no possibility of using technology to identify a possible strange activity, especially in an expressway like that.
Can you remember the time the head of the Methodist Church was kidnapped somewhere in Abia State? That led to almost like a national uproar because he said where I was kidnapped was like 5 minutes away from military checkpoint, and they never did anything. So the question we are asking is that what is the essence of those checkpoints if they cannot even hear guns, fire being shot at people? So there are a lot of questions.
Attack happened on the prison in Kuje. Kuje is almost in the middle. Kuje and Abuja, it's almost, it's so similar. The communities have entered into the correctional facility, correctional center vicinity. And you imagine that kind of attack happened hours after. There was no response, tangible response to be able to apprehend those who have done the attack. And you will imagine that the attacks that happen on schools in the north, this attack happens several hours later. There's no response. They take these people, if 18 people were kidnapped from the expressway and they took them 12 hours into the bush and there was nothing, no tracking, no image, no.
So, Seun, look, let's even do a little brain arithmetic. They kidnapped them and they left those 2 Siennas there, right? Mm-hmm. On the road.
On the road.
So does it mean that people did not see the Sienna?
And they were gunshot. They were
reported to the military. They were 20 minutes away. What could have happened? Do they need any soothsayer to tell them that?
But if there was a gunshot 10-15 minutes drive away here, there's a possibility that you will hear.
Exactly.
If you were on the same on the same path.
And those Sienna would have passed them, so they would have seen 2 Siennas going. So what stopped them from mobilizing to say whoever kidnapped these people will be within this vicinity? Let's comb this whole place.
So for 5 days, nobody was looking for them. No tracking, no search and rescue happened. So every man in Nigeria is on his own. All man for himself, God for us all. So sad. If anyone tonight think that the story of Agada Godwin Paul is sad and heart-wrenching, wait until you hear the story. Agada was traveling outside of Abuja, but the next story we shall be showing to you tonight is a story of what happened in the city. Someone was coming from work. There's someone who, a nurse, a medical official, who was just going about our daily duties and got into the hands of this kidnapper. When she was talking to us on Mycon podcast, she remembered and she started crying. Let me allow you to listen to this young lady. Take a listen to her.
Joy Ichahu. I'm a nurse. I work in the hospital in Mitama here in Abuja. There was It was a Golf, black color. I'll never forget. It was a black color Golf. And then I was kept stopping cars. Some would stop, some would drive off. And then luckily for me, one man stopped. So I said, please, I can't walk. Help me, sir. Help me. I can't walk. My leg is broken. I was kidnapped. They just dropped me off. So they dropped me off in Maitama. And then he stopped and then called a driver, taxi driver, that they just dropped me off. He just helped me from the road to bring me here. But by then I was able to see with my right hand eye. So they should help me and then take me to either hospital or anywhere there, because I don't have a phone to call any relative at that point. They went with my phone too. So that was how I went to my mom's house, from there to the hospital. I was admitted in Nisa Premier and they managed the pain for me. It was horrible. It was horrible, but I thank God that I'm alive. And I was admitted. They were draining literally blood every day from my leg. They were draining blood out. Every day. For more than 1 month, they were draining blood from my leg. And that was how I survived. Every day coming out of my house and going back is always traumatic. Sometimes I sleep, I scream from sleep.
Medical practitioner, and this was within the city from Maitama. And the modus of how they kidnapped her, she narrated. Let me get your view on that.
So, listening to her story, one may think that how possible is this? It's very possible. One, the city has no organized transport system apart from the paid Uber or boat, which not everyone from the city can pay for. And the question could be, why did she take the route of entering an unpainted taxi? I think that's where the first point, if we are trying to make this city safe, government need to enforce that. Enforce that we only have painted taxis all registered. That is very important. Apart from the mass bus transit, what can the city do to flood the city with small taxis to make sure that we reduce this? Now, when you hear her say it was a long drive, now look at how these one chance people operate. They took her from Maitama. Probably they drove through Maitama, went through Nandazikiwe Road, Nandazikiwe Express, and kept driving her around. They won't go into the city, not to be detected. So they stick to the express route, the freeway, and drive round, because she's already blindfolded.
Avoiding
exactly
all of the possible.
Exactly. They will drive her around for an hour. She will not know where she is, but she will know that it's a long drive. Now she narrated the story of the Baba and all that. That could be true if their own part of kidnapping has to do with organ transplant and selling of organs.
Ritual, and
so it
ritualistic tendencies.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It could be part of it. But if it's not, then it could be a story just to make her feel that, oh, I'm a survivor. All they wanted was hand money, which of course, they took her ATM, they cleared her account, which is part of what they wanted to do. So looking at it, each of them have the way they operate. Some of them are just after your money and valuables they can get from you. Some of them are after the organ parts. So this is a serious issue, and the city needs to start dealing with it. It's not about making political pronouncements. It's about matching those pronouncements with action. Like she has given an information which I think a lot of us knew. Why should we have a lot of these small golf cars around Abuja?
They transport for cheaper compared to others, and there are a lot of low-income earners also in the city.
So why can't the FCDA authority, go into partnership with some private companies and flood the city with those kind of intercity cars just to reduce this?
Let me, Dr. Nwokolo, a lot of people are on Twitter, on X right now, and I like to get a lot of people's views. I'm seeing what people are saying. I'm seeing a lot of responses here, which I'm going to be taking. But let me get a few people to weigh in and get their views. I see health is wealth at Adenike Awe 1 on X. If you are ready, let's get your intervention. I'd like also to know if anyone is in any of this platform and you've been a victim, or you know anyone. We're trying to piece together information that could also help authorities, help citizens to stay alive, and help them to stay away from these kidnappers. So, Adenike Awe 1, your mic is on. Please go ahead, your intervention quickly.
Thank you, Seun. On the side of intervention, what I want to talk about is the victim support. I live in UK, and I remember I used to work for an organization. What they do is called Criminal Injuries Compensation Board. These people need support. The government just abandons people. We need to raise a bill. They need to do a bill where the government will compensate people of injury. They need to compensate them. They can't just leave them. They need psychosocial support. They need financial support. We cannot just leave them. And these criminals, what they are doing, when they see our politicians cutting away billions, millions, then they'll think, well, this is how they will get their own money as well. As long as there is a huge chasm between the haves and the have-nots in Nigeria, criminality would prevail. My friend brought her son from America, and the boy was like, why is there such a huge disparity between the haves and the have-nots? It's like we are not used to it. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. It's like we don't have a government. Somebody was talking about SIM cards that are one day registered. Let me shock him. This my friend that I said came from America. She got to the airport and they were going to sell her a registered SIM, and she was like, registered to whom? You want to sell me SIM? She said, of course, she didn't buy it. So those are the kind of SIMs these people use. So we make laws and we bastardize it. So I don't know, but on the side of intervention, we need to have what is called something like Criminal Injuries Compensation Board. These people need to be compensated. Government just leaves them to their own device. It's like we don't have a government. Then if people have this, that is how people become hardened.
Thank you. Yeah.
I yield the mic for now.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I've seen another person's hand up. Olabode Samuel at Abimbola Omonla on Twitter. Your mic is on. Please go ahead. Your quick intervention.
Yes, thank you very much. I think this is the more reason why the church, the mosque, our religion institution will be filled up, because normally, and regardless of where the solution is coming from, we just solution. So if the government is not there to provide a solution for you, then the pastor, the afa, the babala will be able to say you are saved, you are this, you are that, and you like to seek for spiritual help, just because of all these issues we are facing in Nigeria. So I will advise the government to please give us a strong institution. I've been complaining, I've been shouting for this strong institution for a very long time. We need a strong institution across all board, immigration. I'm not freak by the passport that BTO is doing. I'm saying it openly here. I'm not freak, because there are more things to do than the passport. We need an immigration database, NIN, SIM card, all these things are taxed that should be carried out. Link all these things together. Let it be easier for people to be safer in their own country. Let it be easier to be safer in their own country. So we need a stronger institution across all board. We've passed the era of your passport, you can collect it in 2 weeks, your passport, you can collect it in. We've passed all those things. Give us a stronger institution that goes beyond passports. Give us a stronger institution. Thank you, Aid Mike.
Thank you so much. Let's get another person, Dr. Barry Avotu Johnson, on Twitter at Dr. Barry Avotu first. Please, your mic is on. Your quick intervention.
Yeah, thank you so much, Seun, for this opportunity to speak on your platform. Well, I've been here on this platform. I listened to all the issues arising and what happened to everyone. My condolences and for those who lost their life, and sorry for those who got injured and everything. But you see, one point remains this. Everything that's happened so far and is happening, it is a clear manifestation that we have this as the characteristics of bad governance, the characteristics of having an illegitimate government in power. These are the kind of things you see. You cannot bake your cake and have it. If you have a government that have
doing that. We have to start policing ourselves. We have to start looking at our environment and the people around us and report. You see something, say something. You see your neighbor doing it, say something. Your cousin is doing it, say something. Your father, your brother, your sister, say something. When you say something, people will do something. Thank you, Seun.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your interventions. Let's get another person talking. HM Batul at IKR_Ibrahim on Twitter. Your mic is on. Please go ahead.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My condolences to the victims of the kidnap. I am glad that you guys are safe. I just wanted to go over some things. First of all, I also want to say that we need to acknowledge when our military has made some strides. In the past couple of days, we've heard stories about our military being able to rescue some people, and I think that is very commendable. And we also see that the police have been making some arrests and trying to, solve the situation. Now we know that there's a lot to be done, and I really hope that the military and the police are listening. I don't think this is just a random kidnapping. I believe it's like a syndicate, and they need to find those people that are really, really the planners of these things and get them out of the way. But another thing that I wanted to say is that as a nation, we need to prioritize welfare for our military men and women. It's easy for us to come and say, oh, they're not doing anything and whatever. And also, by the way, Seun, you made a statement that I thought it was irresponsible, saying that Nigerians are on their own. No, our military are trying. Are they perfect? No. If you are on your own, most of us would have been dead by now. So we need to acknowledge them when they do what is right. Yes, we know that they are not perfect. Yes, we know that there's a lot of areas of opportunity. That is where we need to give ideas. And instead of just bringing down the government and bringing down the people, there is no country in the world that has 100% security. It's not possible. But however, we can try to make sure that we get as good as we can get. We talk about, the military, this military, that. How many of us, they are recruiting right now? How many of us have gone to go so that we can be part of the military? Also, military welfare. In Sena crimes that I would like to compare Nigeria with, citizens support their military. They create charities. They make sure that their military welfare, they try to contribute. They have private charities that contribute to military personnel. Are we doing that as citizens? What are we doing to support our military? We also have to look at what can we do. I hope that our military personnel can do better. Like the last speaker said, if you say something, see something. But we don't do that in this country. They caught somebody yesterday, Chinaza Philip. Look at the timeline. People were tribalizing it. Everything is not about tribalism. It's not about politics. We need to come together as a country to fight crime. It doesn't matter who the criminal is. As long as it is crime, it is crime. We will condemn it and we support our military to fish them out. Thank you, everybody, and have a good day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your intervention. So when I made that comment about all man for himself, God for us all, it was in the context of the fact that if people were left on their own, no tracking, no tracing, no search, no rescue. So if people, 17, 18 people were kidnapped, there was no number to call, there was nobody searching for them. If nobody was calling or these guys did not release you from the kidnappers, then you are going to be in the forest forever. So that is the reality. Are the military doing their best? Yes. Is the police doing their best? Yes. But is it enough? No. Nigerians still feel unsafe and insecure. Where they do the right thing, we will say it. But when things are not right, we will also say it. Let me get one or two more persons and let's get their own view on this matter. Dr. Femi Yekini at FemiYek, please, your mic is on. Let's make it brief so that we can have one or two more people before we close.
All right, thank you very much, Seun. Good evening, Nigerians. Can you hear me, Seun?
Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I want to say my heartfelt condolences to the victims that have come on the show. I don't really have much to say. I just want to agree with this last speaker and the speaker before the last one. So two things. Our military and policemen are doing a lot of work. Now, there may be a few bad eggs amongst them, but that doesn't make all of them bad. The problem is we are under-policed in this country. I keep saying this all the time. That's why I agree with the second to the last speaker. We need the state police apparatus in this country. We are under-policed. let the people police themselves. I don't know why people are kind of like against maybe state police or local government police or even a city militia. These are the people that they know the forest, they know the roots. For example, God bless the soul of Rotimi Akeredolu, the issue of Amotekun, for example, has helped a lot in the Southwest. Let the northern states, let them have their own. Please train these people, give them weapons, let them protect themselves so we don't keep having the same reoccurrence all the time and every time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate Osasu is here. Let me get your view. I know you are the World Cup, but you see bothered about the state of the nation. Thank you so much for joining in. If you can be quick, go ahead, please, with your
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm at the African Cup of Nations here in Cote d'Ivoire. But of course, I'm very, very disheartened and disturbed by this situation. And this is also something that I take very personally because in February of last year, just before the presidential elections, my father, who is just over 80 now, and my youngest sibling, they were traveling to Benin for the elections. And while they were doing that, they were waylaid by kidnappers on the way. And it is just by the grace of God that they were not abducted because the driver outsped the kidnappers. But 3 bullets hit the car, luckily just grazing the driver, seriously injuring or wounding anyone. So this issue is something which I can just imagine how it could have been for my family last year if the driver had not had the good skill and ability to evade these horrible human beings. The truth of the matter, Seun, is that, some years back, I think this was in 2011 when Goodluck Jonathan was still president, he used to tell us, he told Nigerians that you had Boko Haram in the executive branch of the government. He said there were Boko Haram operatives in the military and the police. He said this in public, if you remember. And some of us at that time were very, very uncomplimentary to him because we felt that he was just trying to evade his responsibility as the president of the country. But if we look at how things have been over the last few years, it appears that we have to apologize to the former president for even doubting his words at that time. The truth of the matter is very simple. If we want to have better security in the country, there's no question that we need to increase the funding for the security services, and we also need to improve the quality of people who are involved in this very serious work that they need to do. But if those who are at the helm of affairs do not understand, I beg your pardon, that the primary responsibility of anybody who is at the top, whether it's the president or a governor, is to protect the lives and property of Nigerians, then I don't know why they are there. Because right now, Nigerians are not feeling safe. And if you will recall, and for those in Lagos would know this, of recent, the Lagos state government asked people to start removing gates from their streets that they were impeding traffic and that they needed to go. But it seems like the government didn't or has forgotten or are pretending not to know the reason why people put those gates. They put those gates there because they have not felt safe, and they know that if they didn't do things to protect their immediate environments, that when there was trouble, that they may not get the requisite assistance from the police. If you call the police and say that you are being robbed, how quickly will they come? Will they even come at all? Will the robbers be caught? If you make a complaint, will they investigate it? I mean, you are hearing the tales of those who went through these ordeals, and it's heartbreaking. It's really, really heartbreaking to hear these things. And I really don't know what future we have if those who are in government do not sit down and realize that this is a key priority. They need to handle it because people are losing faith in the ability of the state to protect lives and property. And once people lose that, what else is there?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Osazu. I appreciate it. And I wish Nigeria the very best at the AFCON this year. Let me get one or two more people. I see Francis D at the real _ Francis. Please, can you make it quick so that we can get one or two more people?
Okay, let me just make it snap here. Good day, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say that from the moment this government set its inception, I knew that they're not serious about fighting the insecurity problem, because it seems like they just continue from where the previous government, left off from, using the plaster and bandage approach, waiting to wait till the patient bleeds and then you use the plaster to cover it up. Security, because there are no contingency plans that have been set forward or set in motion. So there are two ways to fight security, insecurity rather. You either fight it directly or indirectly. So the direct approach is you have to make your security parastatals, you have to make it a you make it a lucrative outfit. You have to make it put it such a way that people are attracted or people want to get involved in. If you talk about the police force everywhere now, the average Nigerian user don't want to have anything to do with it. Why? Because they are underpaid, they are underfunded, they are under-equipped. Okay, and if you look at the ratio of policeman to the citizen, we see that the ratio it's not balanced as compared to what you have in other same crime. It's something like 100 Nigerians to one police. So of course they'll be under policing. Of course you have issues like this, and already the security outfits have been stretched thin as a result of all these insecurities and terrorism that's happening all over the country. So why can't this government say, hey, let us make the whole security outfit something that's interesting to the youths? Why don't we increase the pay? Why don't we make the life of an average policeman something that is attractive so that youths can get involved, so that we can have an increased number of policemen on the streets, and then we'll stop having all these issues of kidnappings here and there, and nobody's there to checkmate them. You understand? So the government is not taking the direct approach. Then the indirect approach is, listen, Nigerian economy is such that they keep churning out. It's like a conveyor belt that they keep bringing out youths year on year that are doing nothing. So what do you expect? A youth is sitting at home, is not employed. Of course, there's every likelihood he's going to take to crime. I'm not in support of this, but that is the reality. You cannot fight crime if you know that your economy is not employing your youth. This youth will take to vices. That's the truth. So look at the government now. Can you say that the government is doing something to engage their youth? And then tomorrow they want to point fingers at the youth for becoming kidnappers? Yeah. Come on. Those kidnappers you are seeing now, if they have salary of 150, they would have dropped those jobs and be taking up the better job. So I don't want to talk too much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let me allow Ichi DK1 of New Nigeria at Ichi_DK1 on Twitter. Your mic is on. Please make it very sharp and brisk.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Seun. And my heart goes out to the victims that have shared their experience here with us this evening. Seun, something is instructive in the stories we heard here today. There was no mention of support by the Nigerian security agencies, all of them. What we heard was how they were all ignored.
They were all released. We have very many more stories of victims that we perhaps can produce from this studio. But the two people that we have put their stories for today on this podcast, their stories are such that God rescued them. They were released without any security agency's intervention. Please go ahead.
Exactly, Seun. That's my point. And that goes to the point you made. Nigerians are literally left on their own. So there was nothing irresponsible about that comment. Okay? My younger brother faced the same ordeal in Abuja, driving in his own private car. Men who claimed to be police officers stopped him, after much argument, pulled him out of his car and put in their car. The next thing, they drove off. The next thing, took off everything of the guy, robbed him, pushed him away from the car. Okay? I went with him to go complain to the police. No investigation, nothing was done. We complained. Even the police took money from us to open file, to do whatsoever, and nothing was done. Off the top of my head, I can think of what the police should have done. Okay, the ATM where they went to withdraw his money, there are cameras there. Nothing. No feedback from the police in Nigeria. So this is the country we live in. The police is set up to guide politicians and big men. The common Nigerian do not have access to these things, and we pay taxes. We work for this country, but we don't have access to security in our own country. Sure, these stories abound. I can go on and on. I've lost an uncle on the Nigerian road. Okay, there was a shootout on the Nigerian road, shooting and killed this man on the road, where there were police checkpoints and whatsoever, and nothing happened. Sure, nothing. Nigerians are literally left on their own. These politicians do not care okay, what support are they giving to these victims? These heart-wrenching stories that we've heard.
Sorry,
yesterday,
DK. There is a comment on Twitter, competence peace. Let me read a quote. It says, checkpoints in Nigeria are not security checkpoints, but money-making points. The security personnel are more concerned about money than our security. If you travel well, you will definitely know this. Please go ahead.
Exactly, Seun. I'll tell you this from my experience driving around Abuja. I'll tell you that the checkpoints you meet are literally not of any risk. If you meet them, laugh with them, give them money, that's all they're asking you for. So you can literally be a kidnapper with hard weapons and give our police money and pass through. Nothing will happen. And it's not just in Abuja, it's across Nigeria on our highways and whatsoever. These guys are not set up to protect the citizens.
Thank you so much, DK. Yeah, thank you, DK. Since Egbenga Akinyemi here, but the guy, the fellow, the victim of the Abuja Kano Expressway where Chinasa Phillips was arrested is Seun Akinyemi. I don't know, is there any correlation, Egbenga Akinyemi? I'm seeing you on Twitter. Do you know the Seun Akinyemi who is the victim? Well, if you do, we would like to hear from you. If not, that's fine. But I see one or two people with their hands up. Let me allow Zamani of Apapa. Please, your intervention should be very brisk and quick. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Seun. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Can you hear me, Seun?
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. Firstly, I actually want to talk about the Nasarawa State Governor that you interviewed yesterday. He said everything online is over-exaggerated, and security in Nigeria that we see on internet is partly different from what is happening in real life. I think you will be watching this live now, this space right now, and you'll be comparing the facts with the statistics you have given him yesterday on your show on the politics today. Now, what I actually want to talk about is the police in Nigeria. Trust me, just the way the last speaker said, it is fucked up, 100% fucked up, because there is no way this police is actually helping us in terms of securing life and properties. We've seen a couple of things, even ordinary case you have taken to the police people, they are just after your money. They will take the money from you and they will talk about it. You understand? Now let's talk about the issues that you normally discuss on your day in day out shows on your regular shows. I've seen a couple of times you call on politicians, most especially Honorable Jimmy Benson rather, that is in charge of policing in Nigeria in the House of Representatives. You've talked about and you asked him questions about low funding of police, because when the IG was actually went to the House, that he was telling them that they want money, they want funding, and they also want personnel on ground. Jimmy, when you bring Jimmy on your program, he was saying something entirely that it's not about funding, it's not about personnel. Trust me, just the way the last speaker said, we need more police on ground. We are tired of one police to 100 citizens. So that's my view.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Well, so much to talk about, but look, Dr. Ndu Nwokolo, if you can just wrap up for us. Where do we go from here? The Minister of FCT has his work cut out for him. The new squad that has been released by the IGP, they have their work cut out for them. The IG himself, the Commissioner of Police in the FCT, has his work cut out for them. What about the citizen? Who is protecting the citizen? What should the citizen do? To wrap up, Dr. Nwokolo.
So first, let's start from trying to provide a solution, which is, if we are to protect the citizens here, all the agencies of government, both the security agencies and non-security agencies, need to work together. That's the only way. Now, for the citizens, there's a book written by one Professor Daniel Smith of Brown University, where he says that every Nigerian household is a government. First, all households in Abuja should first take care of their own security. I don't mean to carry arms, but find a way to start redefining how they guide themselves. Like, you don't need to jump into a taxi you flagged down without knowing where the taxi is coming from. Neighborhood watch we should increase it.
Mm-hmm.
People should make effort to guide themselves. Mm-hmm. Thirdly, these guys who scavenge around the city picking things, cut them off from your neighborhood. You don't need them.
Yeah.
You know? Fourthly, try to organize your own community security around you. Link it to whatever police headquarters or police division you have in your area. Finally, for now, let's sleep with one eye closed. That's what I think, until things improve.
Yeah.
And then, like I said when I started, the topography in Abuja, it's not working to our own benefit now. For an instance, here is Gusape. If you watch back of Gusape,
yeah,
you're joining Bush from Nasarawa State. It's important that our security agencies start understudying the topography of Abuja, where the hills are, where the values are. These guys understand it more than them. And that's why once they do the mass kidnapping, they move into those areas. And these are escape routes to either Niger State or Kaduna State or to Kogi State. So that's part of the things our agencies should start working on.
Thank you so much, Doc. There's someone I'm seeing on Twitter who unusually raises his hand. He's a friend and colleague, Austin Okonakman. Austin, are we safe?
We're safe, Shehu. I must say, a good job you're doing. Well done. You know, when I listened to the victim of the kidnapping issue in Abuja, the lady touched me. I got soaked eyes, and I was like, let me just say a thing or two. You know, I can remember when I was like 10, I started hearing about one chance, and it's still prevalent in Nigeria. It's just a clear testament of the cluelessness of our leaders. And that's whether or not we agree somehow, I think they like the fact that the citizens are going through this. In every country, security is topmost priority for any government, you know. So it's simple. Let's just ask the government to come out and say sorry to the people for wasting our time in doing that SIM card registration. Let them come out to say, we were just senseless, so we didn't know the advantages of this thing, or we just wanted to waste your time. And since you guys have gone through, because Nigerians were stressed with that process. Come out now, because I do not understand how a kidnapper in the same location contacts somebody, and you contact the police or any of our security agencies, and they cannot track in 2024. You don't need to tell the people or let them know whatever is going on. It's just basic technology. And if that is still happening till now, then our government is clueless. It's rather unfortunate. I totally agree with you. All man for his own. Hold your God tight and pray that you stay safe. That's it.
Thank you, Austin. You got it there. Well, that's so much we can take today. Thank God for Agada Godwin Paul, and thank God for the nurse, Joy, who has spoken to us today. And we hope that the stories is just samples of the several other stories that are abound about those people who have experienced terrible, terrible scenarios in the hands of this kidnapper. But thank you all for joining us on this Micon podcast. Thought-provoking and deep conversations we've had tonight. But I must say, we are left with many more worries. From the harrowing accounts of the medical worker to Godwin's ordeal, we've had the stories of survivors who bravely share their experiences of kidnapping. However, it's impossible to ignore the stark reality that these are just the fortunate ones. What about those who are not so lucky? The shadows of the unearthed stories cast a chilling uncertainty over my thoughts tonight. It is disturbing that some of these distressing stories are from the Capital Territory, the nation's most fortified city, an area that should ideally be one of the most secure places in the country. The unfortunate truth is that the FCT is in fact largely unsafe, raising concerns about the state of security in our nation. Tonight, we touched on the multifaceted nature of the kidnapping issue. It is not just about abduction for ransom. It extends to more sinister motives such as kidnapping for ritual and organ harvesting. The complexities of these problems demand urgent attention and lasting solutions. Intelligence gathering, local policing, whistleblowing, more funding for security are some of the solutions preferred tonight. I hope those are the M of affairs we step in and take the right decision. Once again, thank you all for being part of this important conversation. Stay safe out there and be vigilant. I'm Seun Oki. It's been my podcast. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Mike On Podcast with Seun Oki. Mike On Podcast for the independent